Hello and welcome to the Episode 7 of the Snowboard Instructor podcast. Today we talk to Andy Jerram, a Basel Level 4 ski instructor who works for Morzine. We of course talk about his skiing background, but also his snowboarding instructing background, alongside the current climate in the French ski resorts. Alongside this, we have a sponsor for this episode. Watch and Ride is an online snowboarding school which focuses on improving your ability no matter what level you are. With loads of quick tutorials and feedback from high-level instructors, you're bound to improve not just your technical ability, but also your knowledge. They also have a fitness program to help maintain your fitness for next season of shredding. As we all know, lockdown has made us a bit lazy. Visit Watch and Ride and use the coupon code Snowboard Instructor Podcast for 25% off your order. We hope you enjoy this episode and have a great day. Yeah, thanks for joining anyway, Andy. First question I kind of want to ask you is, where did you start in terms of, we'll kind of break it up into two regarding skiing and snowboarding. So yeah, from your first snowboard lesson, let's start off with, to, of course, that first trip with the snowboard and the qualifications alongside that.
Yeah, for snowboard, really, I didn't really have a first lesson because I was in kind of so early that nobody was teaching it, or I couldn't access anyone that was teaching it. So what I did is, I think I was about 21. I'm 54 now, so it's quite a while ago. And I was in Les Alps in May, and I rented a snowboard and some snowboard boots, which weren't what you think they are now. Just you could have used your ski boots because it had ratchet bindings in. Just unreleasable. But I rented some Reichley snowboard boots, and they were like a touring boot, really, with a little bit of lateral flex, and a snowboard by a company called Hot. And it was like a great big fish.
That's pretty good, actually.
So I didn't realise, but it had a massive side cut. It had a big bulbous nose and a massive side cut. It looked like a modern directional, but obviously you wouldn't know.
Like twin or omni-twin?
Nah, directional.
Just full on directional.
Yeah, full on directional. Yeah, like no curl at the back at all. And it was actually really cool to ride. So we went out with a couple of friends and self-taught. Yeah, and it didn't feel that difficult. Like most of us had a skateboard background.
Okay, cool, yeah.
So it didn't feel alien, and we could ski, so we kind of know how snow worked.
Yeah,
and all that, and it felt great actually. It must have looked pretty weird. Like the bindings were faced like 45 degrees forward. Yeah. And it was just really good fun.
Yeah.
And like turn for turn, it was just like so much less effort than going skiing.
Yeah.
Because then my skis were 205 and really straight and had no side cut. Oh, we didn't really know. We hadn't even heard the word side cut.
Yeah, it wasn't invented until snowboards came along, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it was.
It was.
but like I understand now, like an average side cut was 42 meters on a ski. So we never talked about it.
No.
And then the snowboard came along and it was just that shape, and we never even questioned it. But it must have been like quite a radical side cut. So you ended up like carving without knowing it. It was such a good scene.
And how was Les Alps anyway as like a resort then?
Yeah, that was in April, May.
Yeah.
And it was really high and really good snow and really good fun to be there. And really quiet as well, because it was beyond Easter. And
because I think I would have kind of gone into like the glacier, wouldn't it, essentially? But yeah, it's and then did you go to Alpe d'Huez just across to do some boarding as well, or was that just kind of, did you stuck into Les Alps alongside that?
I've just got to get the names right, actually, because one's Leicester Alp and one's Alpe d'Huez. And I think we're in Leicester Alp, actually. So that might, because we're on the back of Le Grave. So that's Leicester Alp, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the last 3 days of the holiday, the resort was shut and the bus was round to Le Grave and everyone was moaning about it. And me and a couple of friends I was with looked at it and went, wow, this is just like better. It's just, yeah. And we didn't, we chose to ski those days because we'd only been snowboarding 2 days. We didn't have the skills to ride Le Grave. Yes. Although it would have been fun having a go. So we went there and all the other clients went on the bus to go back. We said, just leave us here. We're fine. We'll hike over and ski back down the resort. And we did that. So we hiked over and then skied back down. You know, when it was closed, which was uber cool.
And in terms of kind of go from that first holiday, where did you go afterwards in terms of the progression of that snowboard, and then evidently to doing your first qualification in instructing?
Yeah, it's quite a long time, really, because at the time I was trying to get a ticket to work in Europe. So I thought I'll concentrate on the skiing side. So, but I was kind of like, I always had a snowboard. Every couple of years I'd buy a new snowboard. I'd always snowboard and like that. But I kind of have that on the back burner. So when I finished my skiing exams, through Basey, I thought I'll do the snowboard exams now. So the year after I'd finished and I'd got a French license and everything, I went to Teen and set myself up. I was on Salomon skis at the time, so I got Salomon snowboards, bindings, boots, which I felt really good at the time, actually, really, really on it as products. And I did a course with Neil McNabb.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah.
Who was really cool to be with, really different. Obviously, he's got 5 times British champion.
Yeah,
he's got a pedigree, and up to that point, I was really completely self-taught through all those years. That's quite a long period, you know. So that's
pretty long,
pretty long time, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
So I went on the course, thought I could snowboard, like really found out I couldn't. I thought I could snowboard because I could ride the whole mountain.
Yeah, like bumps, variables, steeps.
All that sort of thing. And Neil, he didn't. He was nice about it, but he educated me well to realise that you can get a lot more out of a snowboard than this. And that course kind of changed me really.
How did you feel with the switch then of kind of going from how you used to ride to kind of that basic standard by the end of the course?
It was emotionally quite hard to realise you couldn't do something very well.
Yeah.
and then halfway through you realise, well, it's an opportunity. I can figure out how to do it better. And because I was riding like really face forward, and I learned to ride square, and I learned to pedal with my feet, and all stuff I really wasn't doing. I could carve, but I was just tilting the board, and it was just kind of by accident, and I could ride off piste just because I'd practiced that. But so that season, it was my first season working in France, and I was the only one who had any sort of snowboard qualification at all. So I did quite a lot of snowboard teaching. And it was great because I kind of learned to snowboard while I was teaching, really.
Yeah.
So, loads of beginner stuff were a ride switch. And actually, ironically, even now, my switch I feel is technically better than my regular. Yeah, just because I learned it second, learned it better. Yes, that was a really good season. That was, I reckon, because in a ski school, there tends not to be quite as much snowboard teaching available as alpine skiing. Not in Europe anyway. China, Asia's different. But I got loads of work through it, and I really enjoyed doing it.
That's good. Yeah, and essentially we'll kind of touch upon the skiing part as well. Being a level 4 ski instructor as well. Just kind of a quick rundown of your history of when you first started skiing to the qualification to the first lessons as well.
Yeah. So for me, I learned to ski as a kid on a school trip in I think it was 1977, and it was I knew I wanted to go, and I knew I was going to like it even before I got there. Snowboarding didn't exist.
No,
it probably did actually.
Well, but it wouldn't be prevalent till the late 90s.
Yeah, I've got a feeling Jake Byrne had just done something,
just started it or something.
Yeah,
progression. Yeah.
So I think it was about 11.
Yeah,
and I had a monitrese called Renata, and also I can remember it's the first time I can remember being interested in a woman, but I didn't know why because no one explained this side of things to me. So and she taught us to ski,
and then you were like, ooh,
yeah, and school trips then weren't organised like it is now. A lot of high-profile disasters hadn't happened. So literally, we had 2 hours instruction in the morning, and like little children, 11, were let on the mountain in the afternoon. And we used to go out and ride the blue runs and just go out skiing.
That's really good. Which resort was this?
This was Sierre Chevalier.
Okay. What place is that?
It's southern French Alps. It's near Grenoble.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just near Italy, near Sestriere and stuff like that. Super nice place. Still, I've not been back since. I've been to Sestriere, but not there.
No. Oh.
At that time, like France was a really cheap place for British people, and we stayed in the hotel by ourselves. But the food was really bad, so we used to as little boys. We used to eat out every night. We used to go and have a pizza.
I bet you love that.
Absolutely loved it. Yeah, it was just like in this medieval sort of town of Briançon. It was really cool. Just to remember that, I've got to tell you about is like skis. I now know they were called compacts. They were really short, which would be about what they are now, but they're called compacts. So we had little skis of about 170, and the bindings. I got plastic boots, which was good because a lot of people got leather.
Yeah.
So that was like a brand new thing. And the bindings were like a plate that went on the ski, and you put the plate on the ski between 2 springs and then clip it in and then put a safety strap round because brakes hadn't been invented. And like when you crashed, it was like a half-hour job building everything again. It was just... we used to crash often, just things that happen where, stuff we do all the time now, like you go off the edge of a track into powder, like just take some nice air and stuff like that. Did that by accident, and then thought it was a really good idea. So every time we hit this corner, we just fly straight off the edge, and then we'd have to spend about an hour putting all our kit back together, just to rebuild the skis and put them back on again.
It's just like Legos at this point.
Yeah, but it was a good experience.
Yeah.
And then after that, we didn't go abroad for a bit. My family got into it, and we went to Scotland every Easter for our Easter holiday.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any lessons. We just we'd get bought a lift pass and ski rental, and we'd just go skiing. And it was just great fun. It was. I don't think we went abroad again for another few years, but we loved skiing in Scotland. Never noticed it was bad weather.
Yeah.
Stayed in a caravan in a campsite at Glenmore.
That is cool.
It is cool. Yeah. It was. It was like cold and fun.
How was like caravans? I bet you guys were freezing your asses off. Like, were they quite insulated, or was it like?
Yeah, caravans was quite warm. Yeah, but sort of wandering out to the showers in the freezing cold and whatever. It was just that's just not great.
And then what was any more notable trips before you kind of started to think about, actually, I want to do this as do my instructing? And when did that come about, essentially?
Yeah, I mean, the instructing thing came about for me, when I went to work, I did an apprenticeship as a ladies' hairdresser.
Yeah.
I can do barbering as well, but I'm a ladies' hairdresser mainly. Then I had my own money, so I started taking more ski trips. It's really important to me. I'd always put a few days snowboarding in. Didn't own a snowboard then, but even then, when I was like 18, snowboarding was just not really mainstream. It was really hard to buy a snowboard in the UK.
Yeah.
And it was quite easy to rent one in Europe.
Yeah.
Was this before Snowdome came about? Or
Yeah.
And I'm guessing just sort of the only thing you had was dry slopes or go up to Scotland.
Yeah, I mean, dry slopes, not really. That hadn't.
Was it like
not in the Midlands.
No.
There was one little tiny one in Nottingham called Carlton Forum.
Oh.
Literally 50 metres of that Dendex plastic material. And then, I think I'd be about 20 and Swaddling Coat Ski Centre opened. And I went along, and it was a really cool scene. It was, and I went to, the cool thing for young people to do then was to go ski racing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because freestyle hadn't really happened. It had.
But it wasn't as kind of pronounced, yeah.
Just wasn't labelled, that sort of thing. And the race trainer actually became a really good friend of mine, still is, a person called Scott Dobson.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was a level 4, and then he became a basic trainer. Used to call it grade 1 at the time. And he was really cool, really encouraged me, and I got better at skiing. But by the way, he's my sponsor now. He's Lang Dynastars, his brand in the UK, and he's my sponsor, and we've been friends all that time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, so he owns Dynastars?
He's the importer for the UK.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, so that's a really cool sort of turnaround. It's Swaddling Coat Ski Centre, really, really good scene. Went away skiing with those people, and someone said you should do an instructor course, and I did a snow sports English instructor course. Did it once, and thought I'm not even ready for this yet. You know what I mean? And I did it again a year later, and I was just in a better place for it. I could ski better, communicate better, and then decided to do it. So I did the next level as well, the same summer.
Level 2.
Yeah.
Well, or would it be?
Level 2. Yeah, but all on the plastic slope.
Yeah.
So I did the snow sports thing, level 1 and level 2, and then I spoke to a friend of mine, Nigel Matthews, who's still a friend of mine actually. He's a level 4 Snow Sports England coach. Does a lot of the ski leaders course and things like that. Yeah. And he sat me down and said, "Well, if you want, what's your ambition?" I said, "Well, I want to do a season." He said, "Well, you definitely need to do your Basie then." So that's started me down that road. But I did a season first. I went to Morzine and did a season first, and then came back and did the first Basie course in the summer.
The first ever?
Yeah, but not the first ever. The first one I'd done in the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, trying to think that would be about 92. And then you did a 2-week training, and you got a logbook. And then I did another season in Courchevel for the same company, just like, and everything plus a ski guide, like washer upper, bed maker, drive the skidoo to get the luggage up to the chalet badly. And then I went away the following summer and did the next course. Which should be the level 2 now.
Yeah, brilliant.
It was, where do I go for that? I went to Teen for that.
And how was Teen as a resort then?
No, I thought it was wonderful, really. And it was, the glacier was much bigger then. There was actually quite a bit of skiing in the summer. Yeah. I think it was, sort of in the school holidays time, and it felt really excellent. I know it's it's smaller now, but you could have a really good ski there. Got 2 weeks there, really enjoyed it. Fortunately passed the course, so that helped. Yeah.
And kind of going from that to the higher levels then, when did you start kind of thinking about you wanted to kind of progress a bit more through the system?
Yeah, more or less the season after, we went back to Courchevel to be what will be termed ski bums. We didn't really have jobs. Myself and a friend, Stephen Down, he's level 4 as well now.
Oh.
And we did Basie as kind of a hobby. So there were no training schemes or no gap years that hadn't been invented.
Not yet.
Just yet, yeah.
Just yet. So we'd ski all season. I could fund myself because I could cut hair. I don't know what Steve did, but he seemed to survive. And what we'd literally do is ski off-piste all season. We'd climb big couloirs, we'd go and explore, we'd go and ski the Glacier de Gabrielais with no appropriate equipment. You know, we'd just literally like explore and go skiing all the time. And at the end of the course, end of the season, we'd book our next Basie exam and just turn up. And we used to really enjoy it. It's just like, you know, people get really stressed out now.
Oh, yeah.
We just go and really enjoy it. And you know, so I think we did the level 3 technical the season after.
Again, just enjoying it, not like, well, yeah, you were like, wow. Whatever.
Yeah, but we didn't seem to stress about it at that time. And we both got it. And we thought, yeah, that's great. We like this. Yeah, it's really... And then, obviously, a lot of courses. And I think the next year I did 6 or 7 in one season. So that was
like proper,
quite a heavy season. But yeah, I enjoyed all the courses. Really, it was it was fun. Yeah. Oh yeah, in the meantime, we did something else as well. We did training for our. It was called a test capacity, which was the Euro test.
Oh, okay.
That was our other hobby. We didn't take it seriously.
Again.
Honestly. We got all the gear, you know, slalom skis
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Well, that was the only skis we had, slalom skis.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, we did slalom training. And we didn't get the test capacity. We got the test technique, which is the one below, when we went to get it. And what it meant was, though, we were given temporary time into the French system.
Oh, okay.
So we could be stagiaires, assistant instructors. And we went to work for a French independent ski school, which was the best thing ever, because it didn't work much. You worked peak periods, and out of peak periods, you went for training. You got free training. That was part of the deal.
Oh, okay, cool.
So your chief instructor would take you slalom training in the morning and then go skiing off-piste in the afternoon.
Okay.
And we were really bad at slalom compared to all the French stagiaires, but we were really good at skiing off-piste. But we learned to get better.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
As you go through.
Yes, that you know, being a stagiaire was a really cool experience. Really, really good. So yeah, I did that till I passed the final exam.
Yeah.
A couple of years later, and then I left and went to work for a British ski school, which just kind of like British ski schools were pretty new then, and it was quite exciting to work for a British ski school
because you could actually have people speak
Yeah.
English and you teach people English.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was New Generation, which is quite a big ski school now.
And then,
At that point, there were 7 of us, like in total, and all in Courchevel.
Wow.
And it was really close, really nice atmosphere. We'd all socialise together. We'd all work together, work well together. Yeah, it was a nice time.
And how was that kind of? Did you stay at New Generation for quite long?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, so I did a season with them, and then there was a trainer selection. So I thought, can't lose by going.
Yeah.
So I went and did that, but actually, to my surprise, in the interview at the end, got selected. So that was quite a shock, actually. I thought, yeah, great. And then I went back to New Gen, had a great season working, and I thought it'd be like a period of, before I got a course. But I turned up to there used to be a thing called the Basie Bonanza at the end of the season. Yeah, like a big party. It's a brilliant thing, actually, where loads of members would come, there'd be clinics to put on that were for free, there'd be a big meal, and we'd all go. I turned up for that, and Peter Cavall, who was the training director at the time, says, Andy, what are you doing next week? I said, not much. I have the Basie Bonanza, a bit of ski. He said, well, actually, no, you're going to work for me. He didn't really give me a choice. I said, yeah, great. I was really pleased to get a course. That was a level 1 course. It was really nice to get my first course. Yeah, it was cool times.
Where was that again?
In Teen.
In Teen?
Yeah.
You did your first level 1, properly training in Teen?
Yeah.
Ah, that's cool. Was the course pretty good for the first time, or some decent amount of skiers, or was it a bit like, don't know? Yeah,
it's pretty daunting taking your first course. I think there was less guidance then.
Yeah,
there's a big pile of trainers' notes, so you had to kind of read the trainers' notes and find out. The big thing was knowing the outcomes for the day, knowing what had to happen in that day, and then you go out and do it. And then the lecture syllabus was quite heavy. You'd be about an hour and a half in the lecture room afterwards, just putting the stuff over. That. Yeah, but the candidates were really nice. I could still remember those people on that first course. They didn't know it was my first course. I didn't tell them to be finished.
That's my first one, by the way.
I thought, I'll keep the information to you till it's all, till we're done.
Oh, that seems pretty good. Yeah.
And then going from that progression, where did you kind of go after teens, essentially?
Yeah, so work-wise, I stayed in sort of Courchevel, Maribel for a long time, for 12 seasons, and just kind of moved at the Basie ladder and did more, more higher end courses, and there weren't as many trainers then, so you did a lot. So quite often you do 2 weeks to start of the season and 3 weeks at the end and 2 weeks in the middle. So it's a lot of courses. And then in that time, I found out what a gap year was, because gap years
was fairly new.
Fairly new. So I went to a place called Horton Anders and ran a gap year, and I thought, this is a brilliant thing. Really, really liked it. It was a mixture of young people and people on later gap years, and I did that for sort of 7 years. That's so just for sort of 2 weeks a year.
That's cool.
Ended up doing summer courses as well. So to start with, we were in Italy, in Valsenalis, which was a really cool place. Tiny glacier.
Right, proper.
Yeah, but enough to do the courses. And we were almost the only people up there, and a few athletes. That was it, in these apartments, and there's a pool and a gym and everything like that.
Oh, nice.
Everyone used to party so hard up at Valsenalis. It was amazing. Especially the weekends. It was, and so did we. Really, it was just like, those places you go to and you work and you train and whatever, and you're surprised to just have a job when you get back. It's just
because you're like, I remember you were carrying me flat out drunk, and you're like, I don't know, like your boss sees you, getting full on drunk and passing out on the end of the street, and then he's like, "Oh, come back for next season."
Yeah, well, my boss was there, Peter Cavall was there, and he was more drunk than anybody at the weekend.
I think that's the sort of a level you have to become. You have to be a good, drinker. If you are going out with clients or customers, you got to be like proper good at drinking instead, in case,
It's. I think we're trying to break that link a little bit, but it's useful if you can really. And, if you've got a nice clientele and people you really get on with, it is quite nice to go out for a drink at the end of the day, and they quite like that. It's kind of the human side, isn't it, really? It's I'll be professional in the day, but we'll have a beer together. What's wrong with that? That's nice.
I think you can still have that professional nature when having a drink, as long as you don't get, full on plastered. I wouldn't wouldn't like have a basic trainer go after a drink. Oh, you did your exam, 2-week exam, and you say some people passed, some people failed on their level 2, and then the basic trainer's like, woo, we get drunk. Normally they just sort of leave early.
Yeah, problem is, everyone does that. They just go for a drink early evening and then leave. Yeah, it's not a nice thing to have to fail people.
Yeah,
it's kind of necessary for doing the job and looking after the levels and whatever. But it's not a pleasant thing to have to do.
No, you don't want people to fail.
Don't.
Have you had anyone, say on level 2 or even a level 1 by that matter, to go, you've told them that they failed and they've just gone a bit oofy with you?
I've only had one person really kick off actually. So that's and this particular person, a girl, I informed her that she hadn't made the level and she got a technical reset, and one of my colleagues found her later down the piece. She was on the floor, like throwing the skis off, and then she went to the cafe and started throwing a helmet around and everything like that. That was probably the most adverse reaction I've ever had. An hour later, she calmed down, but that's the only one. And when we had a conversation later, it wasn't particularly directed at me. It was just disappointment with herself.
Yeah, because I think if you put all your effort in as that, you go through all those 2 weeks of skiing, and then you're not, even though you're not at the standard, you're still a bit whatever.
It's a bit
hard.
It's a bit like me on that snowboard course. You feel you're good at a sport, and then you realise you're not.
Yeah,
it's
pretty much.
In the professional world, it's pretty harsh, really.
Yeah.
You have to tell people. Maybe not in those words, but you have to.
But majority of people will just be like, yeah, that's okay.
Majority of people, because you kind of set them up for it, and you give them feedback. You're not at the level because of this, and we need to work on this. So it's not normally a surprise. Yeah,
normally you'll just be like, okay, I need to work on that. Go off, we work on it, come back, and you'll be like, okay, pass your level 2.
Going from that, when did you kind of start working, doing regular basic level 1 courses at the Snowdomes? When did that kind of start to occur?
When they started to exist, really. So it's over 10 years ago now that Basey decided to. There's a bit of politics there, because Snowsports England and Basey and Snowsports Scotland and Snowsports Wales and Northern Ireland were going to put a course together, which was a UK level 1, which everyone thought really good idea, like a united course. And it doesn't matter if you're Snowsports England tutor, Snowsports Scotland, whatever, Basey trainer, you're going to deliver that course. And all the tutors were meant to come out with us on a Basey trainers conference, and Snowsports England pulled out at the last minute. I don't apportion any blame. Everyone has reasons or whatever, but some of the Snowsports England coaches, tutors came, and they became Basey tutors. And and then we started doing the stuff at the Snowdome, super successful. We'd never sort of delivered that level of course inside before, but it works really well, and most people who deliver those courses, ski, snowboard, like that. I've obviously worked alongside Ash for a long time on snowboard. It's really efficient because you're straight to the lecture room, straight out again, in for a bit of video. You haven't got all the transport times that are on a mountain, and for a level 1, it doesn't need to be steeper.
No,
it's almost in a way all that other terrain's a distraction.
Yeah.
Because you will use it a little bit,
but not as much.
Not as much. Yeah. Yes, that was a good scene actually. Moving inside.
Yeah.
And how have you felt progressing through doing that for like 10 years essentially? How's that been for you?
It's been really good actually. It's I built a relationship with the centre, particularly with the centre manager Tim, who was a snow sports manager before that. And I really like supporting the domestic industry
Yeah.
And through that, I've ended up working in all the centres. So I think I've worked in all the centres in the UK, particularly Tamworth. Obviously, I live there now, and I've got a very close relationship with that centre. Know everybody there.
Yeah.
More recently, Manchester, because they do bumps.
Yeah, as we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. But I've even been down to all the way down to Braehead.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did. Because I'm a telemark trainer as well. I did some telemark stuff down there, which was cool. I've been to running level ones on dry slopes, so Sunderland and places like that. Yeah, it's just a really versatile course.
And going from the level ones, when did you kind of start to really focus on doing a lot more just level 2 kind of assessing as well? In terms of when did that kind of came around, and evidently going on to talking about BAS as well.
Yeah, I mean that really sort of came before the UK course started. Yeah. So what happened was I moved up and did like level 2s and level 3s and the teaching course as well. Before I did the level 1s, and in a way they're a bit easier. So level 2s and level 3s are probably a little bit easier to deliver because their candidates are already in your world.
Yeah,
the audience and the language. They've read a lot of the manual. So it's just level 1's actually probably like the most challenging course to run because people are really kind of committed to the sport, but they haven't moved into that professional world yet.
Yeah.
So it's almost the higher the level, the easier it is for the trainer, because you just got to change them a little bit.
Yeah, because you'd be like, okay, just do this a little bit more, and they'll be like, they'll understand instantly what you're on about.
Or more instantly, definitely. Yeah.
Whilst in level 1, if you're describing, for example, say they need to do something a bit more, then you'll have to describe the meaning of that word that you're on about. Would you say? Or
absolutely. Yeah. So it's the level 1. You've got to create a whole language. Otherwise the feedback they get has no context.
Yeah.
So with your client, that's okay. You see a good skiing client, you've got loads of time and you can do that, but you spend a fair bit of time creating a common language. So when you say something, they understand it.
Yeah.
So in basically in every discipline, I've kind of worked in ski and telemark really, but I work a lot with snowboard trainers, particularly with Ash and Simon. Yeah. We kind of use the language of sports science, rather than creating our own language. Yeah. So a lot of the terms are just anyone like Tom who's done a sports science degree would just go, I know what that language means. But for anyone outside that background, which I'm not suggesting that anyone needs to be that background to be a snow sports teacher, we need to create that context of language so they can understand it. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then when did you kind of start really focusing on going to BAS essentially? Where did that kind of start to develop?
I just fancied a change really, and I'll tell you what it was. I've been in the Three Valleys for 12 years. Love it. Still spend time there. But I stopped for a coffee in Morzine to see a few friends on the way back from Zermatt one year when I'd been working there, and I thought this is really nice. It's in the spring. It looks lovely like that. So I just thought I'll have a change. And the week before, I'd been working alongside Jazz Lamb, who's one of the directors of BAS, and he said, "What are you doing, Andy, next season?" I said, "I'm just a bit unsettled, Jazz. I feel like a change, He said, "Why don't you come work for me?" So I kind of chose the resort. Then I thought back about Jazz, and I thought I really like Jazz, and I really like I know Bex really well, as well, and I thought this would be a really nice change. And that was like 15 years ago. And since then, BAS has really changed as well. We've really developed the professional training so much more, where it's the professional training is probably like 70% of my role.
Yeah.
Now, which I love. It's if you've got people for a whole season or several sets of people who come to you for coaching, for a whole season, in a way it's easy. You just move on from where you were last.
Yeah.
And you haven't got to create a relationship with them. You know them.
Yeah.
When they know how we're going to, you know how you're going to work with them.
I reckon you have a lot of people coming from, say, you've taught them to do a level 2 or level 1, and then by just looking at, say, the clothing you're wearing, like a bass, for example, they'll go, I want to then just do like a few hours training a week in with you guys, say, Morzine and stuff. Do you get that quite a lot?
Yeah, that happens a lot. So a lot of people have done level 1s with me. Have approached me afterwards, so which you're allowed to do. So do you do any coaching? I said, well, actually, this is what I do. And then you give them other options as well to be balanced. But people tend to like to go with a person they've made a relationship with and maybe had some success with before. Having said that, some of my sort of closest clients who are friends really, because that will always happen. You become friends with people you spend a lot of time with that you like. That's going to happen. People have failed.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they won't mind me saying this. Steve and Kate I was working with this week. Steve's level 2, Kate's level 1. I failed both of them on the first level 1 course on the long turns. And, we've managed to work through it and, almost have a stronger relationship, really. Because
they realise through that this is the thing they need to work on, because, those are the type of people that will look at whatever is professional or outside of the professional, they can still talk to you as a mate and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's, there's another friend of mine, and I'm definitely sure he won't mind mentioning his name is Hanim. He's ethnically Moroccan, and he lives in Sweden. I failed him. Well, he didn't pass the first level 2 course he did with me, and I met him in the spa in Morzine, like 2 years later.
Yeah,
and he said, "Andy, you're running your courses?" I said, "Yeah, I'm running one like next week in Austria." This was like Thursday. He said, "Right, I want to do a course with you." I said, "Well, last time you saw me, Hanim, you got the proper arse in me because I failed you." He said, "I know, Andy." He said, "But I'm better now. I'm coming." He turns up in Austria like that, books the course and everything like that. He's skiing great. And like after a few days, he said, "Does it feel different when you kind of skiing at the level?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "You get good feedback all the time." Yeah, absolutely. He said, "It's just you can just enjoy getting better."
Yeah, because when you get to that point, you go from it being extrinsic to intrinsic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you can proper feel like, oh, okay, I need to put my weight more, on the back foot, for example. So,
yeah. But he's in Sweden at the moment, training for his Euro test. And there's a Euro test in Sweden in a few weeks' time.
Okay.
And obviously they are open and they're going skiing, which is probably one of the few places in the world.
In Europe at the moment, yeah.
But he's a great character. He's a good triathlete, a good amateur triathlete. And on the course that he passed in Austria, we were chatting with him and chatting with the group. And, we're chatting about what people do for exercise and what they like doing. And I just said, comment flippantly, said, his cool down is harder than any of your workouts. And it was. Yeah. He used to go and, after we'd skied, he'd drive down and go to the pool and swim 3 kilometres. That's just a cool down for him. That's a fit person.
That's
Jeez, yeah. Moving back into the snowboarding side, then. You were kind of talking about in terms of future qualifications, you wanted to do your level 3 snowboard essentially. Is that still on your plate? Essentially, Jerram, is that something you kind of want to still do if you're given the opportunity to do? And if so, how do you feel at the moment, at this point in time, with your snowboarding?
I would say now there's a very big gap between my snowboarding and level 3. I was lucky enough to do a level 2 a few years ago with Kevin Edwards, which was
Great, sweet,
absolutely superb. That was in Zermatt, and I learned so much during that course. But I've been fortunate enough to see level 3, technicals running in snowboard, and the level is high.
Yeah.
It's because there's only 3 levels. Level 3 is level 4, really, and that's the level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enrol on a level 3 training course, the non-assessed one, but where you get an idea about your level.
Yeah.
And the idea of that is just to progress.
Yeah. And figure out what to work
and see
on.
where I am. Yeah. It's you've got to think about age as an issue. Actually, probably this for level 3. So 54. No one's ever done it at that age before.
No.
And what worries me is the level of technical riding. What should worry me is the freestyle, but I think the freestyle elements really, if you look at them and you read the criteria, they're probably easier than the technical riding.
Yeah, because looking at the freestyles, it's like 2 180s, 1 364 grabs, and then a back and front board.
Yeah.
On the
I'm not sure exactly, but I've got a feeling that I've read like 360 off a red kicker.
Yeah.
And that's not a massively complex thing. And there's some pipe and stuff in it as well.
Yeah, it is just a send job, to be honest, isn't it?
But I think I could develop that easier because of my wakeboard background. But the technical riding is
still
really hard.
I think it would be. Would you say? Although you would say your switch is pretty good, so saying going onto the variable section or even steeps, you would find that pretty easy, would you? Or
no
no
I mean switch on piece, switch carving, that sort of thing. But I know when I'm challenged, I'll revert to my regular foot. Yeah. When the terrain gets more challenging, bumps and stuff like that. It's so though I aspire to the course, I've got to be realistic that I might not get there, but I'm going to take the first step and do the optional training course just because I want to. That's
just because it'll be a bit of fun as well.
Yeah.
You're not worrying about any exam afterwards normally. You'll just
you just relax, enjoy it.
Around,
That's the thing.
And who are you doing that with? Is that
we don't know yet.
Just through Basie straight directly?
I'll stick with Basie, on the qualification side of things, because I know where I'm going.
You know what you're talking about,
Yeah, that's the thing.
Would that be? Yeah, would you do the free course? You've got an idea where you would do it, or no idea as of yet? Because obviously it's early.
Yeah, just wherever it runs, really. Yeah. So I'd probably try and do it outside my main season. So probably do Hintertux at the end or something like that.
Yeah.
And it'd be a nice holiday. Yeah. It's a holiday when you learn something. It's great. I'll tell you a little story about something.
Yeah, go on.
So there's another alpine trainer, Ed Brown, who's a really good friend of mine, and we did that with Telemark. And so, like end of the season, we'd just go up. Oh, we haven't got a course allocated. Let's go and do a Telemark course, like a road trip, book a nice hotel. Let's go and do that. And so we did a level 2, loved it. Next year, booked a level 3, loved it. And then in the summer, Roy made us a trainer for that. So we never even saw that coming. That was a hobby. That's just something we liked doing. It was, doing your sort of second and third discipline. It's really more fun because your whole livelihood doesn't depend on it.
No, because you are peeing about a little bit in that sort of sense.
It could add to it, but
and you're using a lot of, say, fundamental elements that you can sort of cross over into the other sport easily. For example, like I reckon would you be able to cross over some elements from that you know of now from your skiing into, say, your level 3 snowboarding? If you say the instructor says something and then you go, oh, okay, I'll do that sort of in that sort of way in skill, not obviously directly, but in sort of a link, if that makes sense.
It definitely makes you better at receiving feedback. and actually understanding what you've got to do. That's the thing. Yeah. So, and I think like when the other thing it helps you do is, and what I felt I did with Kevin on my last course, my last snowboard course, was helps you conspire with your trainer, because you've got to help them help you. It's not one way. So so if your trainer's going somewhere and you're not quite sure where it's going, just go with them. Just see how it turns out. Yeah, have a conversation about it afterwards or during or whatever. But I think the coaching relationships works better when people conspire to work with each other.
Yeah, and I think it helps better with you because you are training yourself, so you have sort of that more empathetic way of talking to trainer, and you understand it a bit better. It works a lot easier, I'd say.
Yeah, especially with a strong belief that this person is doing it for your interest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So get on with it. It's just it's and when activities are challenging, that's in your favour. That's because you need to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on to kind of the next segment then. Really looking at snowboarding from a ski perspective. Can you kind of just give us, in your experience and your kind of knowledge, like the similarities regarding the technical aspects of snowboarding to skiing, and of course like the differences as well? What do you find in that?
Yeah, so especially now, in the modern era now, because we all kind of know that modern ski design came from snowboarding.
Yeah.
So anyone who can use a ski well can actually adapt to learning a snowboard. To riding a snowboard well. The movements are totally different, moving to sideways. But I strongly believe that it's better to learn more sports, and if you learn more sports, you get better at every sport. Especially
you have more versatility in that sort of sense.
Yeah, especially really complex ones. Yeah. So I say it to my trainees now, and have a day off, take a snowboard session, do something different. It freshens your mind. But what it really does is it improves your movement literacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you normally find people who are excellent at something do lots and lots of things, and they don't look related, but they're all quite complex.
Because they can link it to each other.
That's it, yeah. So, if someone tells me that I'm coaching, that they're playing another sport, I'm really interested to find out about that. And I really want to know, you can't ask this bluntly, about the level.
Yeah.
Are you really good at this other sport? Because if they're really good at another complex sport, chances are they'll be really good at learning my sport, even if it's like unrelated.
Yeah, because they know sort of, in a sense, how muscle groups work and sort of all down the feeling.
Yeah.
So, for example, you'll see if, say, someone does gymnastics, or through an example, will go, they'll say they've just started a level 1 skiing, and you give them like all the feedback that they need to work on. They're making a few bad habits, but then they'll end up doing it a lot quicker than the average person because they sort of have the idea of how it should feel because they're used to that sort of
they'll take it on board. Yeah, they've got a movement intelligence.
Yeah,
and they can, which is vital for learning sports. So you find that with good sports people, they're quite often not you can't generalize, they don't specialize. They want to do lots of things, and they're really into the learning process. They really enjoy just learning stuff makes you feel good, doesn't it?
Yeah. After you sort of get something, so like you do something, you can pick up a bad habit, and then you go off and fix it. And once you fix it, you go, oh, that feels so fucking good. Like, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, Vlad.
Yeah, Vlad.
Yeah, so just Vlad is a personal trainer, obviously, but a very, very skilled one. So quite often when I've got clients who are struggling with movement stuff or stuff that's mechanical in their skiing like that, I send them to Vlad, and he gets better results than I do. So he'll do some stuff in the gym, and it won't be sort of like lifting heavy weights and that sort of thing. It'll be clever stuff, mobility stuff that changes people over a pretty short period of time, actually.
Yeah. And how do you feel in your experiences, kind of when you do snowboard, have you implemented any of those ideas into your skiing? Like, do you feel like your balance is better because of snowboarding due to those different ways? Have you also kind of feel like, even though the goals are kind of the same, the way you go about it is definitely different? Do you feel like that your mindset from that has kind of changed over as well?
Yeah, the outcomes are the same, and quite often, whether if I'm skiing or snowboarding, if it's a challenging environment, I'll think about the outcome I want and just let the body movements happen. But it's taken a while to get there, and when the environment's a bit easier, I might think about the inputs I'm putting in.
Yeah.
But for me, I can cross skiing, snowboarding day on day.
Yeah, fairly easy.
And one doesn't make me worse than the other. In fact, it's the opposite.
It will make you better.
It will make you better. Yeah.
For example, I've had Rich. He ended up, doing his level 2 snowboard with Ash, failed the technical part. So he was like, you know what, I'll have like a couple of years a year out and just starting to get used to skiing. He did his level 1 with you, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did his level 1 with you. And then after that, he was like, yeah, no, it's made me become a better skier and a better snowboarder in general, because that understanding and that movement, as you said earlier, works way better.
I mean, Rich is skiing really well.
Yeah.
Now, he's really got a good feel for skiing. I'm not seeing you snowboard recently, but
no,
I know the issue with Rich's snowboarding wasn't skill; it was an ankle injury that made it hard for him to form in the variable when his ankle was getting bounced around a little bit, and the stiffer boot in skiing helps him. I think he'll get both level 2s.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to go further, obviously.
He was at the level. It seemed like he was at the level this season, but then obviously COVID flipping happened, and
I know, that's it. Yeah,
cut his exam short.
Yeah, and so Rich is not, he's an example of a good multidiscipliner.
Yeah. For sure.
I probably mentioned to you that I've worked in China a couple of times, and it's a really good scene there. It's all the historical stuff we've got about skier snowboarding, that sort of
that like tension there,
cliche of conflict that everyone who actually does it thinks, well, that's just not an issue. We're just like, we're just going out and ride the mountain together. But that's what we're doing. When I go to China, that doesn't exist at all. It's just, and most people that I've done exams with do both. Yeah, that's really normal. Yeah, so for the Chinese skier stroke snowboarder, it's really normal. Probably more normal for them to have snowboarding as the first discipline.
Yeah,
because it's pretty much 7% snowboard in China.
They do have like they do have a big snowboard culture over there.
Yeah,
and their sort of snowboarding's very, very cool and weird by looking at like the videos. Like half of them will have their stances, positive angles, and when our sort of area is just normal 15, negative 15.
Yeah, stuff I've noticed because I've worked. Normally I'll go away with two or three snowboard trainers because there's like loads of snowboard courses and there's like one ski course.
Yeah, and you're like, oh.
So we're all kind of working around the same area together and just chatting and doing stuff together. Is that they're really piste orientated.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're riding well on the piste. Everybody can carve, definitely. They point the feet forward on symmetrical boards.
Yeah.
Which nobody understands here, really.
Yeah.
It's, but it kind of works for
it's
that.
It's their style choice, isn't it?
Yeah. And a lot of if the candidates struggle, which isn't, they don't normally struggle because they're normally well-prepared candidates, actually. It's on the freestyle element of a snowboard course. And, the last one I did it with James Sweet and Luis Samvico, which was really good fun. Both super strong, in the park.
Yeah.
Lewis off the planet strong, obviously.
Yeah.
And James, same thing really. interesting though. Go to China with Lewis because he's a full-on celebrity.
Just like everyone knows.
Oh, really?
Full-on celebrity. Yeah, it's just like he's in the airport. Louis, you're here. Yeah, it's amazing. In resort, it's just like you can't walk from here to there, without someone
In case,
telling you.
like, like full on. Did he get like? Did he ever ask for like autographs once, or did he ever?
Pretty much, yeah.
Was it that big?
That's it, yeah.
Sign me.
Yeah, but people were, we're struggling more on freestyle, and it's maybe just less of a snowboard freestyle culture. It'll happen, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd say more probably. Would you say more big air and jib? Yeah, because seeing a lot of them, they seem very capable. Well, I don't know if this is just purely by looking from an outside view and just looking on Instagram videos and YouTube videos. You see a lot of the Japanese riders will just do solely carving and buttering. Like they'll just do like 720s. I mean, the 720s they pull, you can see them not getting it around. They'll end up like sliding into a 90 and then doing a pop. And then they'll shave it off. But I wouldn't think buttering would be a problem, or even those sort of 180s.
No, I think the only, the only thing is in my experience, which is limited, you're riding on a lot of hard snow, a lot of artificial snow. So your surface is pretty hard, and the pipe shaping, pipe and part shaping is not always as good as Europe or the States. It's not. It's a new industry for them. It's I might be doing some disservice because I hear there are some resorts with super parts and stuff like that. But the resort I was in didn't even have a pipe dragon to cut the pipe or anything like that. So
going from freestyle and kind of going into that then, there's quite a lot of a growing culture anyway with like freestyle skiing. That's kind of really been a lot relevant over the last 5 years, and it's kind of like switched really because now snowboarding is like had this real big freestyle background, and it's really moved on to more of a free ride aspect, and you can kind of see that coming along. Especially it's more pronounced through certain systems. What, in your kind of opinions, how do you see that culture growing, and like it's like what essentially just what's your point of view from it?
My point of view is skiing freestyle I think grew probably earlier than that. I did my trainer in the year 2000 on fully freestyle kit, so I had like a 1080 boot, a soft boot, and 1080 twin skis by Salomon at the time, and because there weren't many twin tips about, and part of the reason that I got picked was I was kind of more freestyle orientated. Now the tricks I was doing weren't big, just doing 360s and carving backwards and stuff like that. They're not. It's almost like not tricks now. But and then it was, freestyle was really kind of moving into skiing.
Yeah.
I think freestyle is kind of peaking in skiing now, and backcountry's bigger. Especially that's what people want to do.
Bigger.
Yeah, and if it's going anywhere, it's taking like freestyle tricks into the background.
Yeah.
So for this season, I'm going to have a big fat twin tip, like from Dynastar, which is about to say my current sponsor, fantastic sponsor. Yeah, I'm going to have a big fat twin tip, so you can that's light, but you can ski off piste, you can ski in the trees, but you can do some switch, and you can do some nice spins and stuff like that. I think that's the way it's going. The way people kind of approach me about skiing now, good skiers, who, unless they're ski instructors, they never request like, I want to go carving or I want to ski bumps or anything like that. Normally it's, I want to ski off piste, I want to ski that face over there, I want you to help me do that. And you go, I'll help you do that. That's kind of where it's going. And it seems like the people who spend money on skis and skiing and kit, it's them.
Yeah, I think that's down to like a lot of it would be social media, because they'll just see videos of skiers going and snowboarders just going off piste, or or touring and stuff, and doing those amazing views and stuff. Very inviting. I would love to do that as well.
Yeah. And in a way, it's more accessible.
Yeah.
There's less risk to the individual. I mean, park tricks are great, but there's a little bit more of a risk to an individual, and it can be taught in a safer way, but it takes a bit more commitment. Whereas, skiing and riding off piste, it can be pretty. With good kit, it can be really easy. If you get a really nice directional board.
Yeah.
Riding off piste is so easy now, isn't it?
The equipment that you've got going on, especially at the moment, you've got those, volume shifted boards. Where I've got one, the Yes 2020, and it's just basically they just fatten out the board, shorten it, and then you can just ride in that powder and it floats amazingly. But doing that, it's great, and it's also really good at carving.
Yeah.
Like,
it's bizarre they work on the piste as well. That's the thing.
You just tilt it. You can't really. It's hard to get the torsional flex. But all you do is you just lean a lot more, and you just feel a little bit like Ryan Napton or something when you're carving it. I'll tell you what, going from carving on a snowboard, dead easy. When I've started to go get my skiing a little bit better, trying to get in there, do the level 1, which will be like next summer. Tell you what, carving on skis way harder than on a snowboard, because on a snowboard you just lean and the edge does the work. On skis, it's obviously, as Rich said, it's putting the weight on the outside ski, and that is, to me, doing it is a lot harder. What do you think?
I think honestly, I think they're probably equally as easy, but you've got more background in snowboard. I think if someone couldn't ski, I reckon you could teach them to carve immediately. They wouldn't stop when they got to the bottom, or be able to skid. But I reckon you could teach them just to tilt, and they'd go somewhere. I think the issue is the lack of side cut.
Yeah.
Compared to a snowboard.
Yeah.
Like with that directional board, it's probably like 8 meter side cut. And then you move to a ski, even a short one's going to be a 12 or 13 meter side cut. So, when you tilt the ski on the side compared to a snowboard, it takes a lot longer to engage. Yeah. I think that's an issue.
Yeah. And in your view then of snowboarding, seeing how that's kind of progressed from being freestyle to free ride, where do you see kind of snowboarding going? Like, what's your interpretation on that?
Yeah, my feeling is that it's going to go, the market's going to go more free ride and more free ride. The main thing is that, like, snowboarders they're not young people anymore.
No,
they started as young people, just like the skiers did, but now they're older people. They're probably a little bit less park orientated. They're getting more backcountry orientated. Because it's fun, and the implications are, apart from getting avalanched, are less really. You can, and it's exciting.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of my friends like Simon Cook. His clientele quite often a bit older. They've got a bit more money.
Yeah.
Because they're at that stage in their life, and they can afford holidays. They can go to Japan. I think riding off piste, riding powder is going to. I think it's going to move more that way. I just feel that snowboarding's now, it's a mature sport. It's not.
It's getting to become like a bigger sort of that area.
Yeah, definitely. It's it used to be abnormal to see an older snowboarder. It's not now. It's a really normal thing.
You get well used to it.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just more just a choice, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, and hopefully it's just seeing that demand and popularity grow as well, really, for snowboarding, because evidently it's still there's still a pretty big kind of gap between skiers and snowboarders in terms of demand, really, for it. It's moving up for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always. I feel like that's not going to change. There's always going to be skiers more than snowboarders because that's just how it is. But as you said, the divide's not there anymore in that sort of sense. As in, like the clash between when snowboarding first started in sort of the 80s, and have you seen that video of snowboarders starting in 1980s, and the skiers are like, oh, they shouldn't be on this slope, they're causing a problem, and then now it's like, yeah, whatever. I think just don't be a twat if you're on ski or snowboard.
I think that animosity is just such a boring cliche. Just go, whatever, just back in the 80s, maybe for a week. It's just not a thing, is it? It's just it's a choice. It's and like many people do both. And like I said, in Asia, it doesn't seem to be that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in your view, then, especially seeing the progression of snowboarding from, back when you first started skiing, have you seen like snowboard progress essentially?
Yeah, massively, really, and it's mainly equipment driven. So, but bizarrely, in a way, those first snowboards a road, those hot snowboards that were fish shaped with a massive nose, they worked really well off piste and had a big side cut. And what's happened now that's kind of made backcountry more accessible is the kind of that shape again, with much better materials, much better tech, and we wear soft boots, not hard boots, so you can move in every direction more freely. So I think it's in the right place now.
Yeah,
it's but it's it just seems to be freestyle's still big, but edging away from freestyle. It seems to be less important to the progression of getting people into the sport and staying in the sport. I still think there's we talked about skiing being bigger than snowboarding in Europe. I don't think that's quite sustained in the States. I think there's a bit more snowboard in the States. Definitely, we talked about China. There's a lot more snowboarding in China, more than skiers.
Yeah.
Is the initial learning to ride takes a little bit more agility than learning to ride a pair of skis. Do you think that's a fair comment?
No, definitely. It's it does. You always kind of do see it feels a bit more harder to kind of pick up due to kind of feel like very noticeably it's like the balancing. You've definitely got a lot more kind of leeway leaning side to side in terms of balancing. You're able to kind of hold that a bit easier than you are forwards and backwards. But yeah, definitely.
Moving on to that, so it's always like you hear the same old comment, snowboard's harder to pick up but easier to master, while skiing's the opposite way around.
I think they're both hard
I
to
think
master.
I've been like thinking about it and looking at I think it's just because you'll have a lot more skiers that are more technical in that mindset, while snowboarders aren't as much. Obviously, you still, for example, like us lot will be sort of technically driven in our snowboarding, or all skiing. You want to get as best you can, but would you say that's the reason then, or not?
Yeah, I think just if we can get sort of snowboarders, because pretty quickly snowboarders can ride the whole mountain.
Yeah.
Same with skiers on modern skis, really. And it's just really getting people into really good high level coaching that they really get a lot out of. I think that's. I don't think there's any barriers.
No.
There, it's just making people realise that it's worth getting someone like Ash, getting a snowboard trainer to look at your boarding and make you better. It doesn't have to be a trainer, just a good coach. I think I know that the retention in both sports is pretty poor for the amount of people who take a beginner lesson to carry on doing it. So I think we've all got to get better at keeping people in.
It depends also, the country, and so especially even sort of the areas even in United Kingdom. So I wouldn't say the Midlands have a lot of that attention rate of becoming, staying on skiing and snowboarding more. So if you go down like London area, that intention rate would be, a little bit higher.
Do you think that's a bit of affluence? You know,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Even going to a snow dome's expensive, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, just maybe it's time for a bit of an industry rethink, particularly on the sort of beginner snowboard session, beginner ski sessions, at how to get people to succeed a bit more. And because it's like in a beginner snowboard session, people find it hard to even get up.
Yeah.
And when you can ride, that becomes not a problem.
Yeah.
Because you don't get down.
It's just that initial...
It's just like, or you can roll onto your toes and get up. It's not...
It's just that initial hurdle of getting to learn the edges. And then once they've got the edges, when you get them to do a turning, it comes so much easier from there. It's just that initial hurdle, which people, they'll do it and they'll go, I don't want to do another one because it's so hard to, do. But, after the next lesson, if they decide to do a next lesson, they'll go, yeah, definitely. That's a lot easier.
Once they've got a good basic turn, riding the mountain comes pretty quickly. You're maybe not as quite high a speed as a skier, because it's easier to go straight and go fast up on a pro ski. Is that a reasonable thing to say? But does that matter? It's not really an issue, is it? It's just can you ride and have fun?
Yeah, all about that. And moving on to kind of the final thoughts. In your opinion, what makes a good or great snowboard instructor?
Yeah, a good snowboard instructor. I think that instructor can be helped by the environment they work in. So basically, quite a good ratio of instructor to pupils. So not many pupils. I know that has a cost implication, but not many pupils. You've got to be pretty active and pretty hands-on at helping people. Yeah, like that. I know that's difficult in COVID times, but that'll change when it's in my experience, a lot of tactile stuff, a lot of holding hands, a lot of you working very hard as the instructor physically. Yeah. Running up and down, helping people up, and just really having a bit of empathy that it is a difficult thing to learn in his initial stages. So you've got to kind of go through it with them. Yeah. It's I think it's a harder first session than a alpine skiing session. Yeah. Or first day or that. And you've got to really make sure that you manage things in a way so they don't get hurt in any way in the first day or put off like that. So if that means teaching them a bit slower, taking a bit longer learning, heel edge slide, a traverse, building the progression a little bit slower, that's worthwhile. There's a lot of things that can get in your way as well that you can solve. Equipment problems tend to be awkward, when the boots aren't laced up well, and the bindings don't fit as well as they could. In a snowed up situation, you can actually address that, can't you? You can get them back in and fix it. It's not a problem. Totally, yeah. And I've even done stuff like lace people's boots up for them to show how it is. I know that's difficult in COVID times, but that's not forever, is it? No. Yeah, but a lot of empathy, knowing those first sessions are hard. Yeah. And when people are moving on snowboards, it's really cool teaching them, and it's absolutely fine working with bigger numbers. I've done some stuff at like reasonably high levels. So there's a ski club of Great Britain. Yes. They have a leaders course, and quite often they have snowboarders on the leaders course. And I think one year I just there were so many snowboarders, there were 6, that I switched to snowboard and had a whole group, and it was great. So we just put all the snowboarders in one group, and because everyone could ride, we just talked about how to ride. Everyone could ride everywhere, so it was just how to ride better, and it just worked so well. That wasn't difficult at all, because those people were already converts to the sport. They already liked it. They're on a course. They're already committed to the course. That was a really good experience.
Would you say like teaching that compared to teaching skiing at sort of the same level, would it be when you're teaching them, would it be a lot more sort of less formal, and you wouldn't do as much, say for example, drills, or sort of the same? What would you think?
Really similar. And I'd do drills, and I'd sort of tell them why, and I'd do stuff to develop ourselves, like holding knee drills, flexing drills, like just staying square drills, all those sort of things I would do. But then I'd go and have some fun, and we'd go and ride off piste or something as well, so we'd have and I'd do that with the ski session as well.
Just find that balance.
On that one, probably the so I've done that with skiers, similar level of travel. It's the only way to compare it, isn't it?
Yeah.
People travel that fast and
Yeah.
can do that terrain. Probably got more progression because the people in the snowboard group hadn't really had as much tuition. They were mainly beginner lesson and self-taught. So when you put some new stuff in, they go, "We haven't new stuff, right? Just get on with it. It's really good. It's really like it. Yeah, really makes a difference." Yeah, it's so going back to that question of barriers and which one's harder. You can't say it's harder. You can't say it's harder to get good at skiing and snowboarding, because they're both difficult at the high end.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and kind of final questions then. What's future for yourself, Jerram? Like, where do you feel like you well, of course, what you can talk about. With bass, with kind of skiing in general, and evidently snowboarding.
Yeah, I think immediately this season, with Bass British Alpine Ski School on the professional program, there aren't going to be a lot of normal clients, people who have a nice holiday.
Is Joe coming there as well?
Joe's coming for that for the whole season. Yeah, so they're those people are there from the season. So like 2 weeks quarantine, whatever quarantine, doesn't really think. Yeah, it'd be nice to teach the public as well, because it's a real good difference.
Yeah,
when your job is, I don't teach people who are having a holiday very often. It feels like I'm on holiday, having a good time. It's a less intense learning experience. That feels good. I think this season immediately, I'm going to have, because the circumstance, I'm going to end up getting more time off. So I'm going to indulge my passion. So I'm going to go snowboarding a lot, a real lot. Definitely, I'm going to buy a directional board.
I think one time have you ever been on a hard boot yet?
Not since the start.
Not since the start. I have to try back on that.
Yeah, find out what a modern hard boot is. I'll dial it in.
Yeah,
I'll do it. Yeah.
Chess has got one, and me and Max have got one, so we can just be like throw you on that and see how you feel.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
Day.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. Yeah, and the other thing is, in recent years, I've been working with Basie Nordic. Really, because it's difficult. All our Nordic instructors, cross-country instructors, live in Norway, or generally. So I was kind of seconded in because I'm Alpine and Telemark.
Yeah.
And it's been a really good experience, actually. Really, and it was just really to get Nordic using some of the tools that we use in. They're not bigger disciplines; they're just ones that we do more courses on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, snowboard, Alpine, we do so many more courses than Nordic or adaptive or anybody really. And that's been a good experience. So I'm going to go Nordic skiing. I'm going to get fully lycra. I'm going to get one of those suits for hood and everything.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and I'm going to I'm going to get good at Nordic, and I'm going to take some coaching.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
There's a gentleman called Guy who lives in the same valley as me. He's a Nordic ISIA, so he's like top qualified. I'm gonna book some time with him, because coaching's a great shortcut to getting good.
Yeah.
So and I believe that doing Nordic and learning to get better at that is going to make me better at other disciplines as well. That kind of whole movement literacy thing, getting better at everything. Yeah, back in learning. So I can, in my sort of belief system, I think kind of mass practice is not always the way.
Yeah.
Just do a lot of your main sport if that's really important to you, particularly if you want to pass exams and just be great at it. But do other things as well, and I think that's going to accelerate the person.
Yeah.
So
Great. So
Nordic.
yeah, where can we find you, Jerram, in terms of social media and with Bass, essentially, if you want to kind of if anyone wanted to contact you?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook and Instagram on my own name as Andy Jerram, and I don't post it often unless I think it's something that I feel is really cool.
Yeah.
So I don't post about I've drunk this bottle of wine or I've eaten this food. I tend to post if I've had a really good wakeboard day or we've done something something good, a really good snowboard day or a really good alpine day. Tend to post that sort of thing, and just get some feelings.
Great. Thanks so much for getting on, and hope for the future you get that level 3 and essentially get that full house of qualifications, mate, for sure.
In the first full house, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't got a Nordic qualification yet, but I'm working on it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's honestly, because working in the 4 disciplines I have, so I've done obviously alpine, telemark, snowboard, and alpine adaptive.
Yeah.
It's everyone has taught me more about the others.
Yeah.
Everyone has been kind of complementary. And the other thing I think is good to do is just to look for all different systems as well. I know you two are looking at that in your podcast, aren't you? At different systems. Yeah. Because no one system has got the answer. And if you just look internally at your one system, you get a bit one-dimensional. It's just
you kind of want to explore a little bit.
Yeah.
Saying that from more towards the skiing side, and it relates to snowboarding. How you see sort of the Basie skier, and then you look more in the Austrian way, and then you look a bit more in Switzerland, to even like going down more Japan route. They're a bit like way more open than, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, definitely. Just get rounded. That's the thing.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for involving me.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Great. Oh.